Hello, everyone, and welcome to the online open day for the Master Biology in Leiden. My name is Lennart Schader. I'm an assistant professor at the Institute of Biology Leiden, and next to me is basically a little panel of experts that's going to explain you all from their perspective how the Master of Science in Biology at Leiden is and why you should maybe join us here in Leiden quite soon. Next to me are Professor Dennis Claassen, the Director of Education for the Master in Biology, and two current master students that are doing different specializations. We have Michael and we have Anne. Thank you so much for joining us. And well, what can you expect now in the next 30 or 40 minutes? First, I will give a little presentation, just a few overview slides that you hopefully see on the screen already. And then I'm going to start off a little discussion round where I will ask different questions, both to the organizer of this program, Professor Claassen, and the students that are taking this program right now. And this should take maybe 20, 25, or 30 minutes in total. And afterwards, we have time left for hopefully many questions from all of you that you can ask in the chat. And then we're going to go through these questions one by one. Okay, with that being said, let's get into it. I will briefly go through these presentation slides about the Master of Science in Biology at Leiden University and why you might be interested to take this program. So why should you join us here in Leiden? Well, first off, simply because Leiden is quite a beautiful city, as you see on this photo here, taken on one of the maybe rare days where there's actually good weather here. But besides Leiden being a very nice student city to live in and to study in, of course, this is mainly about the master program and its different features. So who is organizing this master program? Who's involved in it? First of all, this is mainly the IBL, the Institute of Biology Leiden, represented on the master level for education by Professor Dennis Claassen. But we got basically advice and input from different experts that are right next to us here in Leiden, the CML, the Institute of Environmental Sciences of Leiden University, and the Naturalis Biodiversity Center, which is not only a great museum for biodiversity, but also hosts top-class researchers in this country for biodiversity, evolution, and adjacent topics. So that already shows first that there's really a broad diversity of topics that you can get in touch with and learn about in this master program of biology. Not only those three institutes are involved and you can get in touch with, but we actually have close interactions also with other institutes here at the Faculty of Science of Leiden University, for example, the Leiden Institute of Chemistry or the Academic Center for Drug Discovery. And then, of course, next to the university buildings are the LUMC buildings, the medical center buildings where you can do internships, take courses, hear lectures about topics in biology that are more related to medicine and medical applications. We also have some co-appointments and input from experts from the Netherlands Institute of Ecology, located in Wageningen, for students that are looking to dive more into ecology. And finally, you can do your research projects in this master program, which we will hear about more in just a few minutes, basically anywhere you want. You can do these projects at research institutes and companies, both somewhere in the Netherlands, in Leiden, in totally different cities, or anywhere you want in the world, as long as you can organize it and find a supervisor. That is maybe already the key feature of this master program in biology. It's diversity and the freedom to choose what you really want to do. So besides these different academic institutions, we are not located in an empty space. We, as a biology institute, are located in the Leiden Bioscience Park, which is one of the largest of its kind in the Netherlands and actually also in Europe. So there are many large companies, medium-sized companies, and startups right next to us. You can interact with these people, you can work with them, you can do research projects, or maybe even learn how to start your own biology-related company here in the Leiden Bioscience Park. But before we can think about that, let's first take a step back again and look at the research and the teaching that is happening here at the Institute of Biology Leiden. On an organizational level, we are clustered in three different organizational units. We cover the whole breadth of biology. We have experts looking into animal sciences, plant sciences, and microbial sciences. So basically on all levels of organization in biology. And those clusters are basically interacting also with each other. It's not the case that the animal scientists just stay among themselves. We have defined as an institute 4 research themes that unify and link the research we do here. We study bioactive molecules. For example, we study how microbes produce antibiotics that can be taken as the first step in drug discovery. We study how animals, plants, and also microbes develop and how they can be subject to disease over the course of their life cycles. We study biodiversity, especially together with Naturalis, and we study the evolution of all forms of life. And lastly, we look not only at organisms in isolation, we look at host microbe interactions. We study how the microbiome can influence the life of a plant, of an animal, or of a human, of course. So that is quite a diversity of research topics, research themes that we host in the Institute, and that you, as potential master students, would really get in touch with. That is also reflected in the diversity of our master biology specializations. First off, we have 4 different specializations in the classical master program for biology. The first of them is about biodiversity and sustainability, while the second one focuses on evolutionary biology. Then we have a very broad specialization about molecular, cellular, and organismal biology, where you can then maybe later decide you want to look at the cell biology of plants, animals, or another system. And lastly, we have a specialization about molecular genetics and biotechnology. You already see the images here, actually, of myself and of 3 of my colleagues. Those are the coordinators of those respective specializations, and they are responsible for orienting the students in these research fields and designing a little bit a suitable curriculum for the 2 years program. So you could decide to register for the Master Biology in Leiden and decide for one of those specializations. Then it's really up to you how you design the next 2 years. I just want to show one example slide of what can be done there, but so many other possibilities exist as well. So in the first year, let's say you sign up for the molecular genetics and biotechnology specialization, you start with some compulsory courses like the orientation course and skills for scientists. Then you move on to more specialized courses, in this example, mechanisms of disease or innate immune systems. Lastly, in the first year, you do your first research project in a laboratory, in a research group, which in this example gives you 36 ECs. In the second year, then, you are free to do your second research project. In this case, it's longer. It gives you 45 ECs, as well as 2 additional elective courses. And you can mix and match, for example, these components and totally different courses in whatever way you'd like to. Then we do not only have those 4 biology master specializations, we also have so-called combined master specializations. And those are biology and business, biology and science, communication and society, and biology and education. So you can get a proper training in biology during the first year of these combined master specializations, whereas in the second year of those master programs, you would really focus on exactly the topics you see on the screen now, for example, business or education, because we also have experts that coordinate those specializations. Again, just a little example how 2 years in these programs could look like. You would start again with some compulsory courses and one research project in a biology-related research group. In the first year, that gives you 36 ECs, whereas in the second year, in this biology and business example, you really switch to business. It means you do main courses in business for 20 ECs, you do some electives, and then you do a business internship, in this case, for 30 credit points. Now I'm basically already at the end of my little presentation, just to give you a glimpse into all the opportunities and choices in our master program biology. And in the very last slide, I just want to say a few words about these research projects that really focus prominently in our approach to a master biology education. Because in these research projects, we really want you basically to become a member of an active research group who takes ownership of their own project and advances science as much as they can. So when you join a research group, you are trained to write a research proposal and give an introductory talk. Of course, then, after this is done, the largest part of the internship will consist of practical training and experimentation, in many cases in a laboratory, in other cases on the computer, doing computational biology. In the end, you will write a report about your research project, and of course, there must also be a final presentation. And as I briefly said already, this can be really organized in an individual way, depending which biology specialization you have, and whether you might have even a combined specialization, such as biology and business or education. Okay, now I'm at the end of this presentation, and I will basically move to the next program point, which is a panel discussion where we hear the input from the Director of Education and 2 active master students right now. So I would like to start this off with a question from my colleague, Professor Claassen. What is your idea and the idea of all the colleagues in education? Why did you design the program like this? What makes this attractive for students?
Yeah, I think what really makes Leiden unique is we have first a fixed program that we offer to all master students, where we train students in important skills that we find important for everyone to develop independent of your future career, right? So they can be applied in academia, but certainly also in industry or any direction you would like to go to. And then after that period of, say, 2-3 months, yeah, it's really up to students to really come and to follow their dreams, really, and to see what kind of courses, what kind of internships they would like to follow. So it's the freedom, I think, after a period of, where you do basically community building and where you form this cohort of people. But once people, students move into certain research projects, research groups, they still can get back and connect to their peers that they get to know well in the first 2-3 months of the program. So it's the combined, I think, community building followed by this freedom that we offer the students to do exactly what they would like to do.
That sounds very good, I think. And now moving to the people that have actually decided all this already, maybe I can first ask Anne, what made you decide to apply here and get into this master program?
Yeah, so I also did my bachelor here in Leiden, which I really enjoyed. So I just decided to stick with it, basically. And initially, I liked biology in Leiden because of all of the things that are around the university. So the Hortus, Naturalis, and also that science park that is around. Yeah, and I really enjoyed the experience of that in my bachelor, and I wanted to continue on during my master.
And did you have a similar thought process, Michael?
Yeah, definitely.
What brought you here?
No, for me it was definitely similar. I also did my bachelor's in Leiden. And I feel that for me personally, especially close proximity to Naturalis was really something that was very much of a pro for me to also do my master's here, because it gives so many opportunities for internships as well, and for all this interesting research to dive into, to get acquainted with,
develop.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah.
Okay, no, that's great to hear.
I think the present need of Naturalis is, I think, one of the key attracting features of the Leiden program, right? They're really literally next door, and you have this collection of 43 million species which students can explore, and yeah, it's super cool to have them involved heavily in our program. So yeah, I can see how that attracts students interested in this biodiversity topic, which is of course big at the moment. Interesting that.
Okay, so you've just highlighted another reason, especially for biodiversity interested students, to apply here in Leiden. And let's say we're looking more at a different cohort of people ones that are really interested in translating their knowledge in biology into applications in biotechnology? How can they profit from studying here in Leiden?
Yeah, you already highlighted the Leiden Bioscience Park. So the Bioscience Park here, which is an active part of the community, has more than 200 companies located here, and they organize all kinds of events where startup companies, bigger companies present what they do. They interact there with people present, students. We particularly also encourage to go there, and that oftentimes leads to internships in the free space they have to choose to go into a company to explore, is this something I would like to do? And if the answer is yes, then there's also a whole community around, for instance, Plant, which is also in Leiden, that helps you to develop your ideas maybe into your own startup company. So we do have an active entrepreneurial environment, I think, to really follow what you would like to do as a student, and to maybe for following an internship and then potential application for that, to really develop that into your own business in the longer run.
And maybe in the best case, your internship spot can directly turn into an employment spot.
Absolutely.
We've had such cases,
We've seen examples of that happening. Yeah.
And maybe we can turn now to the students again. And then I'd like to ask you, Michael, so what specialization did you choose? And maybe spend a little bit of time on talking about which choices did you make so far? Did you make an internship already? What did you learn?
Yeah, so I'm doing the biology and education specialization, but I'm still in my first year. So now I'm doing the first part of the evolutionary tract, and I started in February. So I already did my my internship, my first internship, so the research internship basically, that was on the sounds of the Suriname River. I'm actually just finishing that up now, but so I got the opportunity to go to Suriname, which was really cool, and to look into what sounds underwater there are, and I'm also now starting to follow courses, the introductory courses, if you will, so advanced statistics and the skills for scientists, and I'm still not completely sure what course I'm going to follow afterwards, but I think that's also really great that there is so many opportunities even within, for example, my evolutionary track, to also be able to follow courses on biodiversity if I would like. So yeah, that's still some choice I am making right now.
You can't know everything in advance.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah, and from February I will start with the education specialization, and that's more streamlined already, I think. So that's I don't have to make much choices afterwards, so that's nice. Yeah.
I think Michael also highlighted another flexible component of the program already, because the majority of master students, they start each year in September. But you just said you started in February, and then you very soon started with an internship, whereas you only do some courses later, now in September and October, right?
Yeah.
So it's also good to have this flexibility available. And I think our other guest, Anne, started 1 year ago in September. So what specialization did you decide for, and what did you do so far in the last year?
Yeah, so I did the molecular genetics and biotechnology track, especially because I realized during my bachelor that I really enjoyed fungal genetics. So I kind of zoned in already on a topic that I really enjoyed. And especially because the program is so flexible, I could really target myself to such a specific field already. So I did the compulsory courses, some additional microbiology courses in Leiden. And after that, I already did an internship. So that took me, I think, 10 months, which I really enjoyed, because it's pretty steep learning curve in the beginning. But after that, I got a lot of freedom to do my own experiments, to troubleshoot myself. I think that was very valuable in learning how to be in a lab, basically. Now I'm doing a course in Delft, so that's way outside Leiden, but also a possibility. And then next up, I'm doing a second internship. So it will be 1.5 years of internships in total in a company, actually. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing a different experience there.
Okay, yeah, that's also a totally different again and very diverse story from this master program. And maybe another question to the two of you, because you've done bachelor research project, bachelor internship before, like many people watching here as well now, I assume. And now you've got, you said, your first master internship behind you already. What would you say? What is really the difference or the next level in a master internship?
For me personally, I had there was there was more freedom in every aspect. So more freedom to come up with your own research questions, and more freedom to well, the amount of time you are actually wanting to take for your research project. So you can have a longer, more extensive project as well. And also the freedom to, well, approach your supervisor as more yourself instead of yeah, well, being told what to do. So yeah, that I think, yeah.
I think for me, it was especially just the length of the project, because my bachelor project was very short. And it means that basically when you start to get the hang of it and when you start to get questions of your own, you're already finished. And with the master project, you have so much time to go further in depth on the research. Yeah.
And I think that's an important component if you want to become a researcher at the university or in industry later on.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference indeed between these bachelor and master is indeed the length, but also I think the freedom. I also recognize as one of the things we would like to see is that students can more steer their own project, bigger theoretical background, I think, and framework in which you operate. And yeah, because it's very unpredictable what you will be doing in 6 months. It's also not so fixed as a bachelor, where it's kind of, well, not predictable what's going to happen, but it's more, yeah, it's more limited, the differences that you can be exposed to. So I think, yeah, it's good to hear that that the active users also see that point. Yeah, and yeah, becoming more independent, I think.
And maybe you, Dennis, can also say a few words about the development of our master program biology in the past and in the present. So were there always these 4 different specializations and 3 combined specializations? Did you just create them? What was the idea?
They've been in place for already quite a while. I think when I started in 2010, there were 2 master specializations, more a molecular oriented one and more yeah, ecological and evolutionary biology oriented one. But I think because we realized the importance, particularly also of our strategic partners, Naturalis, and also the Institute of Environmental Sciences, and their wishes, we created more opportunities and more diversity in the master specializations with the 2 new specializations that we now have. And the program, yeah, we continuously keep changing the program. This year we really introduced yeah, these new skills course, skills for scientists, which we believe that everyone should be trained in, how to properly read papers, which is, yeah, something which is a daily job of a scientist, and how to ask critical questions and pitch important ideas about those. So that's something we developed this year, and yeah, so far we hear good stories that goes quite well. Yeah.
So that's great to hear that the program is actively being further developed to be attractive and up to date with current research trends, but also requirements on the job market.
Yeah, totally. And also new courses are being offered continuously. Sometimes courses also we have to say goodbye to, because maybe the teacher is retiring, for instance. Also for coming years, there will be a few new courses that are being developed. So yeah, you want to offer a good number of courses to the students that follow different specializations. And yeah, that's, I think, what's really nice. I think there are in total 50 to 70 different courses, electives that students can choose from here in Leiden already alone. And then, of course, you can also do courses outside Leiden as part of your program. So I think there's almost endless possibilities in that sense.
Oh, that's great to hear. And then maybe we close this part of our open day with one last question for the master students, because the 2 years of master are very important, but they're just a stage in your career preparation. So, for example, do you already have a better idea what you might want to do in your future career? Do you want to be an educator, a teacher, or do you want to go back to Suriname and study biology there?
Yeah, so for me, for now, I'm planning on just being a teacher. But yeah, I mean, the opportunities are endless, I think, because I also had this 1 year of a research master. I think there's always the possibility to combine teaching with something else or more academic, because I find that very interesting as well. So yeah, for the near future, it's definitely to be a teacher, but who knows what else will
Where
come
it might bring
my
you.
way. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So
You still got some time to figure it out.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think, Anne, you said already you will do a second internship in a company. So do you think you later want to work as a researcher in a company lab, or you want to supervise people that work in a company on research? What do you think?
I do really enjoy the research, and I think I'm more focused on the topic rather than the place where I'm doing it. But also, I'm going to a company to see whether that suits me better or not than academia. So I'm really hope to get the comparison basically to see what's for me in the future.
Okay, I think that is great to hear, and we think it is important to offer this freedom to students, that they're not forced to do 2 research internships at the university, because then they just don't know how it is to work at a company research lab. Good. I hope with this panel discussion, you could already get a good overview of what is important in our biology program and how current students are experiencing this program. And now we have about 15 minutes left in the session to answer different questions from the chat. Maybe we might not manage everything, but we will try. Some of them are also answered by our colleague Jeroen, the study advisor, already. So there's a question here, whether the master thesis can be written with advisors in the connected institutes. And this, I think, is pretty easy to answer. Yes, they can definitely be written with advisors in connected institutes, not only here in Leiden, let's say at the medical center or at the chemistry institute. They can be written with an advisor anywhere that you want. Let's say you want to do a research internship at a university in England. You can do this. You can just find a topic that suits you. It's also your responsibility then to contact the respective lab and convince them that you're a good student to work on this topic. And lastly, you need to contact a professor here in Leiden at the Institute of Biology Leiden that serves as your internal supervisor. But as long as you have an internal supervisor in Leiden and an external supervisor at the host institute or host company of your choice, you can do your master thesis, your research internship anywhere you want, basically. And then there's a next question from a person that has completed a HBO BSc, but also a minor and pre-master in a specific topic, and how this would influence the entrance requirements. From what I know, I think it's relatively flexible. There are no super strict entry requirements, as long as a certain level of knowledge in different biological disciplines can be shown. We are happy to find a solution, maybe.
Yeah, so I think students that, so we have I think the average grade to get in from the bachelor's is 7.5 from outside biology at Leiden, together with an internship that has been graded with an 8. So if you have that achieved, I think you will be admitted. But sometimes we see that some programs at HBO have, for instance, the students have less evolutionary biology, and it can be that we ask you to do a couple of weeks study on a certain aspect of one of the things that you may miss, but then you will be conditionally admitted and are expected to achieve what is required to get the full permission. So you can start, but you need to do, for instance, some extra evolutionary biology, because we want all students to have a basic grasp of the whole biology field, which also may include aspects that you have had less in your previous study.
All right, so also flexible solutions about the entry requirements. Then there's another question, how much of the biotechnology track is about plant or industrial or medical biotechnology? And I think that's also relatively easy to answer. There are courses about all of these aspects of biotechnology, and it's up to you which of them you choose as an elective. And then again, it's really about the research internships. You can choose to do one long research internship or two shorter research internships in plant biotechnology, if that's what you're really interested in, or you can explore these different flavors of biotechnology in different research internships, theoretically also first at our institute and then at a company, as also Anne, who's in attendance, is doing. That is a more detailed question about the molecular and cellular biology of organism specialization. What are some example courses that would fall within that? I think none of us has exactly the whole course list in mind. Maybe you have a few examples.
I think the course that you have to follow is advanced cell biology, which would, I guess, be a natural fit for that one. What we see is that a lot of students actually also follow a number of more microbiology related courses that also touch on cell biology content. Mechanisms of disease sounds like a course that would fit in nicely. But I think, detailed answer, maybe Jeroen can actually give a more detailed answer, but that's the kind of courses that we see a lot of students actually follow within that specialization.
I also think it's good to mention it's on the website, like the prospectus. The study guides, you can basically say all of the courses that fit in each of the different specializations. So I did that as well before starting, to basically already see what I would like to follow and if it would suit me.
Because if you have so many flexible choices, we must also provide you with all the information to make the good choices. And it seems like that information is available to students already. That's good. What resources are available to help students find internships? I think that's a very good question, because if there's so much flexibility, maybe it's confusing in the beginning for some students. So one thing is, of course, that there's dedicated personnel for that. In our education office biology, for example, the bio master study advisor, Jeroen, can make an appointment with a student that wants to discuss about suitable internships and give advice. What else did you experience?
Yeah, so all master students start with one of a course called an orientation course, where a lot of researchers present their research ideas. And in that, or part of that, introductory period, and the first few months that we kind of standardize for all students, we also have a designated internship market where students can see what kind of research is actually happening in the institute. And then there's really like a matchmaking where students try to get an internship with their preferred supervisor via usually a kind of application process. And so that's how we facilitate finding internships. And I think second internships, that what usually happens is, of course, you then get to know the people in the institute, but we proactively think it's good if you also look further than the institute that you've been studying. So you usually use the network that you build up via your supervisor, maybe, that knows people abroad, to go elsewhere. So we see it's it's at the master phase not so complicated usually to find an internship because of these kind of facilities.
And maybe you can also just briefly share your experiences. Were you simply emailing different professors, or how did you look for your internships?
Yeah, so for me, when I was still finishing up my bachelor's degree, I already basically got to make sure that I had a research project for my master's as well. But yeah, by emailing someone that I thought had very interesting research, and that way it was quite easy to get an internship. But I also think that the internship market and the orientation course are really helpful if you're not from here, or when you start off the master's degree, to get a peek into what's possible with regards to internships. And then it often only is a question of emailing someone whose research you like, and then it should be quite easy to get an interesting research. Yeah.
Sounds good. And how did you get in contact with potential supervisors?
Yeah, so I actually saw someone presenting during the orientation course, and I thought it was very interesting research. So I talked to a PhD student during the internship market, sent an email the next day, and yeah, it was very easy to get in, basically like that. And then for companies, I think that's a little bit more difficult. So the way I did it is through LinkedIn, basically following companies that I thought were interesting, and when they posted an internship opportunity, I applied for that. But also very often internship opportunities are posted by the biology
Study advisor.
Yeah,
Course,
yeah.
yes.
So I think that's also pretty doable to get a position that way.
Okay. Then we have another question, whether it's possible to follow courses from two different tracks, for example, molecular cellular organismal biology and molecular genetics and biotechnology, or whether you can only choose courses from one specialization. So I think it can really be flexible. There are certain mandatory courses for each specialization, but the elective courses, you can really mix and match. They're available for students, not just for students of one specialization.
True, yeah. So we have indeed mandatory courses for each of the specializations, but the electives allow you, which doesn't exclude that you cannot follow it if you're not in that specialization. And, I always advise students to really think or use those 2 years to really find what you would like to do in the, let's say, foreseeable future after studying. And if you already know it, then I would just tailor your program as much as possible to get on that place or position or company you would like to go to. But yeah, there's a lot of freedom to choose between courses that are offered in the different tracks.
Okay. And next up, we have a question about the future after the master programs. In which job functions do most students of each track end up? For example, the evolutionary and biodiversity tracks. Now, I think we don't keep official statistics about the jobs of our students after graduation, but maybe you know a few stories.
So this is again is a research master. So a good number of students end up in a research environment, perhaps doing a PhD, but it can also more in policy and governmental organizations where we see students ending up in this specialization. So it's not that within the different specializations we see very different area where these people will end up. I think maybe with the combined specializations, that's a different story. If you do like in the education track, a career more as a teacher or as an educator is more likely, I think. And in science communication, these people oftentimes end up working, for instance, in a museum or. But for the research specializations, I think, the vast majority ends up in a research kind of environment.
Another question was whether an advanced statistics course is required in the master when you already completed it within the Bachelor of Biology. Well, let's maybe take a step back first and just share with everybody that usually in the bachelor program, you can do a basic statistic module. And in the beginning of this master program, all students are required to do an advanced statistics module so that you're well prepared for looking at data and doing statistics with them, no matter where you work later on. Now, if you already completed the advanced statistics course in the bachelor, I assume it's not required anymore in the master.
Yeah, we have to look into the details, but I think that the important is we find it important that everyone knows statistics. So in this research tracks, it's important that quantitative biology becomes more and more, well, is already important, but that's really something that we find important enough to offer to everyone. About these details, we have to look into. If you've already done the course, then yeah, we have to find a solution, or we have to see what happens. It's certainly not possible to do a course twice, I would say. So, but maybe Jeroen can also answer this one specifically.
Okay, and time has almost run out, so we can just briefly answer one last question now, which is again about the flexibility of the program. The question is it possible, for example, to focus only on fungal biology or classical biotechnology through, for example, elective courses or internships? And I would say, yes, it's possible to focus on whatever topic you choose. You just have to look then which elective courses make the most sense for me. Can I do one long research internship or two shorter internships, for example, about fungal biology? And you can even gain additional credit points from electives such as a literature review. That can also then be with books and papers which are just about the topic of your choice. Okay, I think we could really answer quite a lot of questions from interested potential applicants already. Happy that you're so curious about this. But now time is running out for that session. Of course, me and my colleagues are in general happy to answer further questions about the programs by email later on. And we hope that you will decide to apply for our master program so that we see you here in February of next year, potentially, or in September of next year. For me, it was a pleasure to host this session. Thank you so much for joining me, both from the educator and from the student level. And maybe we'll meet again in a few months here in the building.